Hey everyone, and welcome back to Small Engine Edge. Today we're going to go over some of the online platforms we use for selling. eBay is one of the big ones, and there's very specific reasons for why I think it's the best in most cases if you're trying to ship things out. There are other platforms we're going to go over, but that is the one we prefer for those things. We went over a video recently on the different types of things we sell and use, and you can make money off of that junk. If you haven't seen that video already, don't forget to check that one out about the specifics of what you should be selling off of that used equipment if you have it laying around. But since this drought we've had for the last couple months, we're getting into creative mode where we're just trying to figure out different ways to continue to bring in income. If you're doing that, continue to follow along. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons as we go if you enjoy the content. I mentioned our other video. There's lots of stuff that either manufacturers do not make parts for, or that are obsolete, or good use parts off of equipment, whether it's engines or riding mowers or smaller stuff like chainsaws and push mowers. Much of that stuff is pretty high dollar and very light to ship. So if you're using online platforms to ship them, we normally will use eBay. So we'll get those parts together, whatever they are. We look them up, figure out what a good retail price is on those for selling online. Of course, you have to include your shipping. You've got a cost into that shipping, and then you've got eBay fees on top of it. You've got to figure out exactly how much profit you're going to make off of those things, and you want it to be worth your time. Pulling a recoil or something takes just a couple minutes. Listing just takes a couple minutes. But say you have a quarter of an hour into that listing and you're only going to profit $10, may or may not be worth your time depending on your scale. For us, we wouldn't even touch it for that. But if we're going to make $30 or $40 off of those parts, it's well worth doing by the time you're done with shipping and fees. Figure out exactly what your lowest profit per listing is going to be and exactly how much time it's taking you. Of course, there's going to be a learning curve if you're not used to listing on different places. I mentioned eBay because that's what we use. There's plenty of different sites out there for this. I mean, you can use just Facebook Marketplace if you're trying to do local. They also offer shipping on things. There's different apps like OfferUp or LetGo. I never had good luck on any of those. I don't use them. You've also got like Craigslist, and you can find a place to sell them pretty easily. I would prefer like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist if you're trying to list whole goods or larger items that you're not going to want to ship. So if you have, say, hoods or seats or tires or transmissions or decks that are good off of mowers and you're wanting to get rid of those as a whole, list those on those platforms. They're free platforms to use, and you're going to get good exposure. That is why we like eBay. The fees are rather high, but fees on everything are rather high anymore. Mercari doesn't have quite the reach of eBay. I find some people say they get good sales and stuff out of that. I never had good luck with it when I signed up at all. Craigslist, way in the past, we used to have great luck with. I haven't used it in quite a few years, to be quite honest. For whole goods sales, though, and stuff, older tractors especially, the older guys are still on those platforms normally. So you can use those. I mentioned transmissions. A lot of these hydro transmissions are worth hundreds of dollars if you can get somebody to buy them and you don't have to ship them. Some people will sell them on eBay, but for me, I wouldn't want to risk shipping that out and having somebody return that item. Even if you sell it as is, buyers normally have the right to send something back if it's not as described. Well, people use that term for just about anything. Oh, well, hey, I didn't see this or didn't see that. It didn't fit my machine is a big one. And eBay usually will side with that buyer. So you would be responsible for that return shipping, or at least the original shipping there, depending on what your policy is. You can set different policies on these sites, but it would cost you a lot of money if something went wrong during that transaction. I stay away from shipping any heavy items anywhere. That'll be a local pickup deal. Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or find another online platforms. There's plenty of for sale sites like Nextdoor, all kinds of apps out there anymore. You can do local newspaper or print ads, for sale community websites. Lots of ways to get rid of things locally. For sale online, again, we love eBay. We've got an eBay store that we sell lots of stuff. Figure out exactly what kinds of items you want to sell on there, though. Some of the big ones for us are the junky mowers anymore, like these Power Smarts that are just a couple years old. They don't sell parts for them at all. So these people go on and they're looking for front wheel set and they can't find one. Nobody makes them. They're obsolete. Their mower's junk without those front wheels. Well, they need wheels. You can sell those at a high profit margin because there's scarcity on them. Nobody else has them. So you can put a set of front wheels on there that would normally on a regular mower go for $25, and you can list them for $50 and make 30 or 40 by the time everything's done. Just for an example, a mower here that we just listed. We listed the whole wheel set. I think it's $79.99. I've had 4 people reach out to me already on this wheel set about it, and they were looking for a little bit different model. Wheels weren't exactly the same for each and every one of those, though. But that shows you how many people are actually out there looking for these parts that they're not making. Same thing with recoils on these things, or air filter covers, fuel tanks, cables. Same thing with all of that. You can turn those parts that you would look at that mower and say, hey, I wouldn't even sell that, or hey, that'd be a $50 mower. And you can turn that mower into $150 in parts, selling them just on eBay. Yes, it takes a little bit of time pulling everything apart and listing it. I usually try to include screws or bolts, whatever's holding the part on you're selling. The more accessories, the better. And most people don't think about that. And then they try to sell those parts individually. And somebody needs just the bolt to hold the wheel on, or just the screws to hold the recoil on, and they've got to buy those separately. Well, they're willing to pay more since you have that included with your listing. So it makes yours a little bit more valuable than the competition out there. And you can charge a little bit more better premium versus what the going rate is if there's a bunch of them available for sale currently. It's very easy to do, and it's very profitable, and it works out great if you're doing it during the winter, because even if you don't sell those right away, you're using your time to list those. If they sell during the summer, it only takes a couple minutes to throw it in a box or in a bag, print a label out, and get it to the post office. If you're in a rural area, obviously it's going to take you a while to get to the post office. You can set a handling time as far as how long it's going to take you to ship it out once the order's placed. So if you're in a rural area and you don't want to travel to the post office or UPS every day, you can set that to 3-day handling time or 4-day handling time. But that may mean you're not going to get as many sales, because most times if people are buying parts, they want them in a relatively quick time frame. So it depends on your location, exactly what your setup is. Here we can run to the post office, that or UPS. We normally use UPS because they're more reliable, but we can run there very quickly. I mean, it takes 3 or 4 minutes to get to UPS. It used to be even quicker. Drop them off and go. It's easy. UPS comes here every day anyway, so we don't even have to worry about it. If you've got a commercial location, put it in the spot where UPS comes every day. If they don't, and you're not sure exactly when they're going to come, depending on your shipments, you can always go drop them off if need be. Again, depending on your location, rural areas is where this is going to be the hardest, because you've got to actually make that trek. If you've got a good mail carrier that'll pick them up when they pick up your mail, hey, that's great. Some rural areas aren't going to be accepting of that, though. So check with your local postmaster or with your local mailman if you have mail service to your house, and see exactly what their policies on those are. If you've got 12 boxes for them to pick up every day they come to your house, is that going to be something that they can handle? If not, then you'd have to make that trek into town or wherever to drop those off, and it may not be worth it for you. When we started selling this stuff, we basically figured out after a short period that things that are under $25 weren't even worth listing. And that was at the very beginning. Now we're a little bit higher because honestly, the value of money just isn't as much as what it used to be. If you're only making $10 on something by the end of it, is it really worth doing when you're spending 15 minutes on it? Maybe yes and no, but you've got that time into listing, you've got the time into printing, and the time into dropping it off. You've got to figure out what that very bottom dollar that you're going to make on an item is worth listing. And if it's not worth listing, you can save those for your own parts, or you can sell those things locally also. I see people all over the place selling all kinds of ridiculous stuff on Facebook Marketplace, little things for $10 or $15. Maybe you'll do well that way also. Is if it's something sought after, someone will eventually see your listing and buy it. And if not, did it really cost you anything but a couple minutes to list it? It's usually worth it in the end for parts and stuff like this. And especially if things go obsolete, especially if these parts you're listing go up in value because there's not any of them out there. Some of these fuel tanks off these Briggs and these different parts off of them that were readily available 5 or 10 years ago and have been forever are worth major money now. Recoils off newer stuff. I mean, you've just got to kind of look it up and figure out how many are listed and what the market actually is for those. If there's not a ton listed, we bought a huge box of a bunch of stuff that was nail gun and tool parts recently. I paid $35 for this box of parts he had listed. One of the guys found it on Craigslist, but hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I mean, I think we're up almost to $1,000 worth of parts listed off of that $35 box. So it was a very good investment for us. Keep an eye out for big lots of things or people just trying to get rid of stuff for cheap prices. You can also buy and sell them. It doesn't just have to be junk from people leaving stuff behind. But almost every piece of equipment that somebody leaves behind can be made some sort of money on. Even if you keep those trimmers or those blowers in piles and you post them and say, hey, $1 a piece. I've seen people do that where they sell a big pile of them, $1 a piece of this or that. People will come buy them sometimes just for parts if they have the same models. It's very easy to make money if you do it in creative ways. Depending on the platform, it can be more or less profitable though. So you've got to really kind of figure out where you're going to make money off of those pieces of equipment the best. Is it going to be best to part it out and list it on eBay? Or is that going to be minuscule money compared to what you can make just off the $1 or $2 a piece, selling them real quick and getting rid of them locally? Hopefully this has helped you out if you're trying to make extra money during the winter, looking for something to do, or just looking for an extra source of income. You'll continue to make this money during the entire year, even though you're just posting them during the winter, during your slower times. You'll still sell stuff during the summer. You've got to still be ready to ship it and still be able to put a tiny bit of time into it, but you don't have to continue listing then. And you can make that handling time longer during there. Hey, say 5-7 days. Maybe you don't sell as much, but it's still listed and you can move that time frame down once you get slower again. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons if you enjoyed the content. Have a great rest of your day.